This week on Friday, which is Halloween, just thousands and thousands of parents are going to pass their children through the fire. Deuteronomy 18 tells you, you shall not pass your sons and your daughters through the fire. You shall not make your sons and daughters to pass through the fire. So that's a spiritual meaning. If you do all the abominable practices of Halloween and even all the pagan holidays, which are all the holidays, Christmas and Easter and Halloween, you are making your children to pass through the fires of Moloch. You're making them to pass through the fire spiritually. And you're sacrificing them. And it's hard to get Christians to believe this or to understand that this is real and that is truth from the word of Jehovah. If you are doing Halloween, you are spiritually sacrificing your children, and it doesn't make a connection with you that there are so many children that go missing every year. And that are never seen again. And I know many of these children are taken, for child trafficking and for sexual abuse and things like that. But don't even doubt that lots of these children are being sacrificed, literally sacrificed, to Satan. Because that's what those that are opposing Jehovah, and I'm not talking about just like Christians that are rebellious. It all comes from the same place. I mean, rebellion comes from Satan, of course. Sin, temptation, sin. But there are literally people out there from the evil family that are working hard to promote the lawless one, the coming of the Antichrist, and to bring in Satan's kingdom. That's what they want to do. They want to, and they will do anything they can to promote the spiritual wickedness. So why can't you understand that by doing these pagan holidays, you are literally contributing to that wickedness, to that spiritual wickedness, and you're sacrificing your children spiritually. And if it's not your child that goes missing or gets kidnapped or gets put into child trafficking or gets sacrificed, no doubt that happens, then you contributed to it. So Deuteronomy 18 tells us, there shall not be found among you any necromancer, and I'm paraphrasing, okay? But it says, there shall not be any diviners of divinations, charmers, necromancers, witches, no one in witchcraft. And all the pagan holidays are witchcraft. Christmas is witchcraft. But that's getting a little off of what I really wanted to talk about. So there shall not be any witches, any charmers, any necromancers. All these things are abominations to Jehovah. They're abominations. And you are not to worship. Well, okay, so if you say you're not using Halloween to worship, you're not to engage in pagan practices of the nations. Deuteronomy 18 tells you that the nations did these things. and that all that do these things are an abomination to him. And he wants you, if you say you know Jehovah, you are supposed to walk perfectly before Jehovah in all his ways. You are not supposed to follow after the ways of the nations, of the Gentiles, of the pagans, the heathens. You're not, Jeremiah 10, Jeremiah 7, you're not supposed to learn the way of the heathen. Do not learn the way of the heathen. How plain, much more plain can it be? I mean, Jeremiah 10, yes, is talking about a Christmas tree. Don't bring a tree into your house and deck it with silver and gold. Don't learn the way of the heathen. Don't do Yule and Saturnalia. But in talking about Halloween, how can you not see that this is a pagan occultic practice? And it comes from Samhain. It's spelled like Samhain, but it's pronounced Samhain, and it was an ancient pagan Celtic festival that was it's spiritual for them. It was spiritual, but spiritual as in dark, occultic, satanic spiritual, not spiritual as in Jehovah, as in the God of the Bible spiritual, but as in Satan, satanically spiritual. So why would you want to engage in their practices and engage your children in these things that Jehovah hates? He says they are an abomination to him, and that if you engage in them, you are running your children through that fire. But yet Christians seem to think it's okay because it's all in fun. So it's not all in fun. It's an imitation of evil, and you're not supposed to do that. It's recreating these things, honoring these things, and celebrating these things, because every single tradition, from the jack-o'-lantern to the bobbing for apples, all have a wicked, horrible demonic root to them. So it's just a modern version of Samhain. That's all it is. And the Catholic Church can say all they want to. They turned it November 1st into All Saints Day. So, for one thing, I mean, we're not supposed to venerate saints anyway. You're not supposed to worship and venerate saints. So, but they did that just like they did everything else to make Christians and people think, make it more palatable to partake in these evil pagan practices. And there's nothing at all. Your church is doing trunk or treat. Instead of doing all this, they should be preaching the word of Jehovah, the gospel, which they don't even know that Yeshua came to refresh, which is to obey Jehovah and keep the 10 Commandments, the covenants of promise, and to fulfill the royal law. They should be fulfilling the royal law. If your pastors and the people in your churches really cared about you, they would be fulfilling the royal law. In other words, they would be rebuking you for doing Halloween and for participating in the pagan practices of the heathen. But instead of doing that, they're promoting it. They're the Jeremiah 23 pastors. They're the wolves in sheep's clothing. They're scattering the sheep. They're scattering the flock. They're not doing anything together. And so, instead of, even if you're doing trunk or treat, church is doing trunk or treat, trick or treat, trunk or treat, you can call it anything you want to. It has an evil spiritual connection. The spirits went, they would go door to door. People would go door to door. There's several different things that trick or treat comes from, but I think they would go to door asking for sacrifices. And people would actually sacrifice their animals, and humans would be sacrificed. They would actually sacrifice children then. And then they would do it because they were so scared, in exchange for not getting tricked, not getting something bad to happen to them. Another thing they would do is they would leave out food and things for the evil spirits in hopes that the spirits would not harm them. So all of these practices is where the trick-or-treat comes from, and it's everything that you do. There's nothing that honors Jehovah about Halloween. You can't say, oh, we're going to do trunk or treat so we get the kids at church instead of out in the neighborhoods where they could get hurt or get poisoned or something. It's not about that. It's about not doing anything that represents or connects or is just a spiritual reenactment of these horrible, occultic, dark, evil, demonic, pagan practices. So I don't know why Christians can't get that. Why can't you see that? So in 1 Corinthians tells us, I can't remember the verse, but the exact number of the verse, but 1 Corinthians tells us, you cannot drink from the cup of the Lord and from the cup of demons at the same time. It's clear in God's word that you cannot mix the holy with the profane. You cannot drink from Jehovah's cup and the cup of demons at the same time. So you're either for me or you're against me. You're either scattering the sheep or you're gathering them. So there's no way that dressing up like witches and ghosts and demons, or doing trunk or treat to promote a pagan evil holiday like Halloween, doing that at your church, there's no way that is honoring Jehovah. So if you're not honoring Jehovah and gathering his sheep by rebuking them and telling them not to engage in things like that, then you are against him. You're scattering the sheep. So that there's no in between. There's no on the fence. You're either for me or you're against me. You're either gathering or you're scattering. So if you're not gathering, you're scattering. And if you're not rebuking sin, the blood of all those people and all those kids, if your pastors and anybody who takes part in doing these things, the blood of all these kids and all the people that they have in their churches that they promote this to, their blood is on their hands. The blood of those people are on these pastors' hands that put up with this and let this go on in their churches and that promote these things. So they're murdering all these people in their hearts, because to love your neighbor as yourself is to rebuke sin, to teach your neighbor the 10 Commandments, to not suffer sin upon your neighbor. Your pastor should not be suffering sin upon you. Your pastors should be telling you that these things are pagan, evil practices that Jehovah hates, instead of promoting these things to you. So therefore, they are definitely scattering sheep. They are not gathering the sheep. They are scattering these sheep. And they're going to answer for this. They're going to hell for this, because they are not sent by Jehovah. He said these prophets came, but I didn't send them. They ran, but I didn't send them. So they're out there scattering Jehovah's sheep, murdering all these people in their hearts, getting them to all participate in the way of the heathen that Jehovah hates. So therefore their blood is on all these people and these children's hands. And why would you want to take part in that? Think about that. You're either scattering or you're gathering. You can't be doing both. You either have to be gathering the sheep which is rebuking sin and telling people when they're in error, telling people that they're in sin, to keep the 10 Commandments and to stop sinning. Yes, you can stop sinning. You can keep Jehovah's 10 Commandments and stop sinning. You can turn from sin. So, how people can think that anything is good about trunk or treat or trick or treat or anything, it's crazy ridiculous. So, and one last thing, dressing up like a fairy, which is, fairies are evil too, but so, because they're all of that's demonic occultism, but let's say dressing up like, even if your kids, like, oh, my kid's going to dress up like a puppy dog, or my kid's going to dress up like a cat, or my cat's going to just dress up, like something cute or whatever. So it's no different. It doesn't matter if they're not dressing up like a witch or a demon or a devil or a ghost. Okay. It's still making them out to be something they're not, which Jehovah hates that too. So it's still the same practice that these demons participated in, or these people participated in. They would dress up like demons and animals and different things to ward off, they thought, warding off evil spirits, to look like the spirits so they wouldn't get taken and sacrificed. So it doesn't matter if you're dressing them up like a witch or a cat or a dog or a horse or whatever you're dressing them up as. You can't, and like some people want to say, well, they're going to be something nice. Okay, no, it doesn't work that way, because it's the same, you're still following the same practice. It's the same custom, the same practice. And also, what does the Bible tell you that Satan does? He masquerades as an angel of light. Even Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. He masquerades. When you dress your kids up, they're masquerading, just like Satan masquerades. He masquerades as an angel of light. You see, masquerading as something that you're not, participating in pretending to be something you're not, what do you think that's honoring? If you're pretending to be something you're not, even as innocent as it might seem to you, it's still something that Satan does. It's honoring him. It's masquerading just like him, and he masquerades as an angel of light. So there you go. If you participate in this evil holiday, which honors nobody but Satan, you're just running your children through the fire. Go look up too, to understand where all these holidays come from, really. Yeah, they're all evil. Christmas comes from nothing but Yule and Saturnalia. Go look up the pagan wheel of the year or the Wiccan wheel of the year and look at all the holidays. You can tell they're not called Halloween and Christmas and Easter, but they're there. Because Halloween, Christmas, and Easter, the names were just changed. It's still the same pagan practices that the heathens did. No different. All the same customs. All these customs. Not one comes from Jehovah's Word. They all come from these evil, wicked, pagan practices. Go look it up. It's all on there. You got Samhain, Yule, it's Christmas, and then you got Ostara, which is the spring festival which is your bunnies and your eggs, which is Easter. So, and there's other things on there too. So, go look at there. There's nothing that honors Jehovah. You're supposed to be holy. If you say you're one of Jehovah's children, and if you're not keeping his 10 commandments, you're not one of his. If you're not fulfilling the royal law, you're not one of his. Titus 1:16 says, they profess that they know God, but in works they deny him, being abominable and disobedient, and unto every good work reprobate. So there's no in between. There's no sitting on the fence. You're either for me or you're against me. You're either scattering or you're gathering. You either serve Jehovah or you serve him not. Friendship with the world is enmity with God. Do you love Jehovah? Do you love him and do you want to serve him? Or do you let your heart go after your covetousness and want to go after the ways of the world and the ways of the heathen? How much do you love your children? Really? Think about it. Do you think it's all fun and games that children go missing every year? You don't think that pagan idolatry and running your children through the fires of Molech, that passing your children through the fire, spiritually speaking, sacrificing them spiritually, you don't think that has anything to do with the children that disappearing and are missing every year? So, how much do you really love your own children? Don't pass your children through the fire.